across the spectrum from banking, education, health, through to entertainment and culture, you'll see a gradual move over the next 2 decades towards much more open models of organisation. And that's a very, very powerful recipe.
Throughout the 20th century, we created wealth through the vertically integrated corporation. It did everything from soup to nuts. Why does the firm exist? If markets are the best mechanism for determining how goods and resources are allocated, why isn't everybody an independent contractor at every step along the way in production? The answer is collaboration costs. Because the web drops collaboration costs, consumers can now produce.
You can be a bank manager. You basically have got control over what you're doing, who you're lending money to, and what interest rate you want to set.
I don't think we have a sort of conventional customer-supplier relationship. So it started with us saying to our users, we've been approached by a film company making a documentary. I'll add the press release below. They're looking to interview a lender and hear all about their personal experience at Zopa. Adrian, or Adelos as we know him, responded, said, Amanda has said no, as our house is a mess at the moment. I've just pinged off an email asking if filming could be in another location, we'll let you know. So he then says, I've spoken to the film company this evening, made my demands for red and green M&Ms only. That was the first thing I asked for, and for tea to be made with milk from the male yak. We're different, and we've captured the imagination, and consumers like us. And banks would love it if their consumers like them.
I've been in business now for about 8 years, and the bank always make you feel guilty firstly about borrowing. And then all the pomp and ceremony that has to go with it with regards to the paperwork and, you know, declaring your soul, really. These are the people that have lent me the money. They've all lent me in denominations of 10s, 20s, 30s, £40. Weird that I know how old they are. And then Mr. Lender, who's 70, he's putting £20 of his pension. It's bizarre where they live. But I guess that's the whole point of it, isn't it? It's to, you know, to bring you closer to your community and to the people that are helping you.
Basically, my part-time hobby is as a mobile DJ. We do all types of venues, parties.
In purely pragmatic terms, financially, we need the bigger lenders more than we need the smaller lenders. But we also need a sense of community. And therefore, anyone who wants to invest the time and energy in that sense of community is fantastic.
Yeah, basically developing a community and a company around its users. So the actual company is changing all the time to match what the users are wanting and what they're suggesting.
We think of customers as only being outside the boundaries of companies. The customer is out there. We do market research. We understand our customers. We push products out to them through traditional mass media. Well, now customers can be brought inside a business web where customers can co-innovate value and can co-create value.
This one here, I'm interested in bidding on the second one down. It's again similar to like an eBay style thing. He's wanting to buy £3,000 to buy a car outright, and so he doesn't need to get HP vehicle finance. The Zopa rate of 10% works out roughly at £260 a month, where with a HP the amount is £386 a month. Meaning he'll actually be able to reduce his monthly outgoings. I'm actually going to put in a bid now, and to be honest, I'll probably come in around the 9%. So I'll offer him £10.
Well, the central tenet of the business is that people work together. So there is intrinsically a human element of what we do, which isn't in a bank. I think where banks have got themselves into trouble is by optimising their returns from consumers and in some ways being seen to charge disproportionate amounts to people who are actually probably the most vulnerable people who can't necessarily afford to pay it. And wouldn't it be fairer if people who bounced the direct debit or went overdrawn for a day were charged a fee that was appropriate to their crime?
Court case began today which might produce that very rare event, a bank giving money to its customers. Hundreds of thousands of people are affected. Maybe it's they who bought sufficient copies of a single on the subject for it to burst into the charts yesterday at number 25.
I fought the Lloyds and the Lloyds lost. They even paid the interest and the court costs. At first they sent me letters saying this madam, get lost. But I fought the Lloyds and the Lloyds lost. Oh.
The music world's going through an evolution, and we haven't got to the end yet. At the moment we've got to the point where the old model is widely considered to be dead.
But the first rule of banking is the bank.
It's a crushingly harsh industry. People who do get a record deal, of those, 95% of them typically get dumped after their first album. A large proportion never even get to make an album, even though they have a record deal. And probably 1 in 1,000 end up making a lifetime career out of it. And therefore I figured there had to be a better way of actually discovering music. Over and above discovering music, actually producing music. Slice the Pie is a financing engine for the music industry. Our core function is to connect music fans and credible bands and allow the fans to finance the professional production of an album and then share the proceeds with the people who have actually put up the finance.
Essentially, it's like a virtual gig, if you like. You know, all the bands will get together, put all their songs in, then all the people will vote on there. Yeah, get scouted. All the people will vote, and then you get whittled down to like the last 15.
It's not such a vote, is it, in the arena? It's more of a rating. They kind of rate your track.
The good thing about it is, you know, you can scroll down, you can see all the reviews that people have put. Sounds very much like The Jam, nice upbeat. You know, they've given us 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10, 6 out of 10. There's a 9 out of 10. Even if we didn't win the actual showcase, I think it's quite good to actually get some feedback on your songs anyway.
Under kind of no pressure to give you a good review because they don't know who you are anyway.
Yeah.
Whereas if you met someone in a gig, they'd feel kind of more pressured.
Yeah.
To not tell you the truth.
And we don't know who they are either, so like if someone gives us a shit review, you know, we can't go and hunt them down and string them up by the nuts and beat them to a pulp.
You can have people from all over the world giving their own honest, independent opinions, so it's a very, very reliable way of actually filtering music. It's not an X factor, it's about genuinely using your wisdom and your experience to influence who ends up making an album and who ends up succeeding in the industry, and that's quite intoxicating to a large slice of the population.
People do it because it's fun, because they don't like the traditional publishing industry. They do it as a hobby. They do it for intellectual stimulation. There are lots of reasons.
I could put money in a bank, and that bank could be lending it out anywhere in the world to, you know, regimes or anything. You don't know what they're doing with your money.
They're very open and very honest. You can go on and see how, you know, how simple it is and how they go on about how they make money. I mean, they're not hiding anything. You don't see a web page on NatWest's or Abbey National's web page saying how we make money.
There's been an expression for a long time that you do well by doing good. And I don't think it's been true in the past. Lots of companies did well by being really bad, by being monopolies or having terrible labor practices or having lousy products that they put a lot of money into advertising and sales. And companies are having to clean up, not because of regulation, they're having to clean up because of market forces and the power of transparency.
We don't have a brand value or a sort of a mantra that says, you know, we will declare every mistake we ever make. It's more, well, that people are going to find out about our mistakes, and we do make them, so better to tell them than let them find out.
So every company is becoming naked. And if you're going to be naked, well, fitness is no longer an option. Or if you're going to be naked, you better be buff.
We don't fundamentally, I mean, I don't want to sound too sanctimonious here, but I don't think we do anything that's fundamentally bad. So therefore, we don't have to be ashamed of any fee we charge or way we behave.
I think before we won this money with Slice of Pie, like we're doing probably like maybe, I'd say like 3 gigs a month for like, for maybe a year. And like for all that hard work to kind of pay off, like it's nice to actually kind of be where we want it to be.
We've got a huge fan base. We signed to a lovely label that lets us have complete artistic control over all our albums.
That's the thing, it's not a label.
We're not controlled into releasing something that they want us to release. We release whatever we want to do.
Just to pass the time, I get a job like mine. I'll maybe drive a bus. I check the tickets and be one of us. There is no evidence of you. Oh no.
The music industry has been extraordinarily well disintermediated, to use a piece of horrible jargon. Yeah, is it so far-fetched to think that other industries will follow? I think we get talked about, so I think in the sort of corridors of power we get talked about, and they therefore think, well, hang on a minute, this could be quite interesting. So if this grew to a multiple of its current size, then actually it's quite a threat.
This is no longer about hooking up online or creating a gardening community. This is becoming a new mode of production. And it's beginning to fundamentally change the way that we orchestrate capability in society, the way that we innovate and create goods and services. And the corporation is going through, I think, the biggest change in a century.
I think the losers will be the people who say, I'll always make better decisions. The winners will be the ones that are more open-minded and understand that the world is changing and the internet is a huge opportunity to make things better. It shouldn't always be looked at as a threat.
The change in the relationship between customers and companies is mirrored in the relationship between citizens and their governments.
If you could actually combine that innate intelligence, millions of different diverse opinions from people who have different perspectives, you would end up with fantastic policies.
They go from incompetence to complacency, and there are questions about his integrity. Aren't people rightly asking now, is this man simply not cut out for the job?
Prime Minister, our party that brought in legislation in 2000 to restrict foreign
Right
donors.
now, the whole model of policy development and arguably of democracy is a broadcast model. It goes like this. I'm a politician. Listen to my advertisements and debates, then go and vote for me, and then I'm going to broadcast to you for 4 years, and then we get to do it all over again. You vote, I rule.
Government in Britain is based on the party system. And although the elector marks his cross against the name of an individual, he is in fact casting a vote in support of a party program.
This model is inappropriate for the 21st century.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I'm not talking about people lobbying government or outside parties influencing government. I'm talking about, in some ways, unbundling and reconstituting what is a government.
I think there's a great potential for decision making to start actually on a ground level, on a far less grand stage than Parliament deciding about immigration laws, but actually about really participatory budgeting.